Hello. Hello, my dear students. I'm sure you all will be fine. As I have promised you that go through till page number 11 and I will provide you the material related to that. So here I am with my promise. So without any wastage, let's get straight to the point. In this presentation, we are going to get detailed information about not-for-profit organization. This not-for-profit organization is very much important to your syllabus because CBSE have mentioned that out of 80 marks paper, it will contain the 10 marks of your 80 marks question paper. So this chapter is very much important. And as I have told that I will start the chapter from the point 0. So here I am starting it with the starting point. So let's get started. The first question is that what is NPO? Seriously, I'm not asking about that full form, but the full form is that not-for-profit organizations. But see, not-for-profit organizations are the establishments that are utilized for the welfare of the community and are set up as charitable associations which operate without any motive for profit. Their primary objective is to furnish service to a specific class or the public at the larger picture. Means any organization which is running without any profit motto, then that organizations will be considered as not-for-profit organizations. So which type of organizations are considered as NPOs? So here are the examples like schools, colleges, public hospitals, literary societies, societies for promotion of sports, arts and culture, social welfare organization, clubs, etc. If these organizations are there without any kind of profit motto, then how they are running? If they are not getting any kind of income, because if the profit will not be there, definitely means we are thinking that income will not be there, but that is not the case. Income will be there. These organizations are running without any kind of profit motto, so they are not bound to prepare their income, that profit and loss account. Instead of that profit and loss account, they are preparing something else. In that sole proprietorship, we are preparing trading and profit and loss account, then afterwards the balance sheet. So they are prepared. These NPOs are also preparing the balance sheet, but they're not preparing the trading and that income and profit and loss account. Instead of that, they are preparing only two types of account, that is receipt and payment account and income and expenditure account. And after that, it will be balance sheet. Balance sheet as must. So what are the main income source of an NPO? Because if they are that they are not earning the profits, means like they are charitable something. No? So here, that these are the five and maybe so on, that will be the income source of NPO. Like first is donation. If NPO is receiving donation, most of the time persons are giving the donation to that NGOs and all, so these donation will be considered as income for that donation receiver. Okay, then next is membership fees or entrance fees. Whenever someone will get into that club or something else, that will be the fees will be considered as membership fees. Next is subscription. If any member in our club and if any kind of annual charge will be there, that annual charge will be considered as subscription. Next is loans. Loans means whenever we are applying in the bank to earn any kind of loan, and if we will get that loan, that loan will be treated as income. Next is legacies. Legacies means the donation received from the deceased person. Deceased means that person which have been died. Like after the death, most of the time the richer person and they are donating the amount and their wealth to that any kind of NGO, that will be treated as legacy. If you are alive and you are giving something else to the NGO, that will be donation. But if you are donating something in the condition like that, after your death, it will be go towards that NGO or that NGO, that after that donation is treated as legacies. Last is government grant. Like if government is providing you some kind of amounts and some kind of financial help, that will be treated as government grant. Now, The characteristics of an NPO. So such organizations are formed for providing service to a specific group or public at large, such as education, healthcare, recreation, sports, and so on, without any consideration of caste, creed, and color. Its sole aim is to provide service either free of cost or at nominal cost, and not to earn profit. These are organized as charitable trust societies, and subscribers to such organizations are called members. Their affairs are usually managed by a managing executive committee elected by its members. The main source of income, as I've discussed earlier, that the main source of income of such organizations are subscriptions from members, donations, legacies, guaranteed aid, income from investment, etc. The funds raised by such organizations through various sources are credited to capital fund or general fund. The surplus generated in the form of excess of income over expenditure is not distributed among the members. It is simply added to the capital fund. It is exactly like that in the previous year, in class 11th, we were adding the net profit to the capital account. No? Exactly it is same like. But here, the net profit will not be considered as net profit. Instead of net profit, we will call it the surplus. And last year it was net loss, but here instead of net loss we will term it as deficit. The not-for-profit organizations earn their reputation on the basis of their contribution to the welfare of the society rather than on the customer or owner's satisfaction. Accounting records of not-for-profit organizations. The not-for-profit organizations are also required to prepare financial statement at the end of each accounting period. If they are not earning the profit, it doesn't mean they don't have to provide their balance sheet and all. They have to provide the balance sheet. These organizations are non-profit making entities and they are not required to make trading and profit and loss account. They are not required to make trading and profit and loss account. Instead of that, they have to prepare receipt and payment account, income and expenditure account, and balance sheet. That we will discuss further. It is necessary to know whether the income during the year was sufficient to meet the expense or not. And for that, they have to provide the necessary financial information to its members, donors, and contributors, and also to the registrar of the society. For this purpose, they have to prepare their final accounts at the end of the accounting period, and the general principles of accounting are fully applicable in their preparation. Financial statements of NPOs. The final accounts of a not-for-profit organization consist of the following: that receipt and payment account. Next is income and expenditure account. And the last is balance sheet. Receipt and payment account. This is the first statement that we have to prepare. That is, a receipt and payment account is a summarized cash book for a given period. This is a summary of the cash transactions as in the cash book. Non-profit organizations prepare receipt and payment account at the end of the year. With the help of this account and some additional information, we prepare income and expenditure account to disclose the true results of non-profit organizations. Salient features. Salient feature like that, it is a summary of the cash book. Its form is identical with that of simple cash book without discount and bank column. With debit and credit side, receipts are recorded on the debit side while payments are entered on the credit side. The format you will get later. It shows the total amount of all receipts and payments irrespective of the period to which they pertain. For example, in the receipt and payment account for the year ending March 31st, 2015, we record the total subscription received during the year 2014-15, including the amounts related to the year of 2013-14 and 2015-16. Similarly, taxes paid during the year 2014-15, even if they relate to the year 2013-14 or 2015-16. Like that, you can understand that in the current year, if or any member is submitting the subscription of its own. So subscription is there any annual charge, and that can be collected by the NPOs So if any member is unable to submit his subscription of the current year, then definitely he will submit that subscription to the next year. So doesn't matter that subscription is related to which year, we all have to calculate all the subscription together and all the receipts will be on the receipts column, and doesn't matter the expenses is of current year or the next year or the previous year, it all will be in the payment side of that receipt and payment account. It includes all receipt and payments whether they are of capital nature or of a revenue nature. No distinction is made in receipts payment made of cash or through bank, with the exception of the opening and closing balances. The total amount of each receipt and payment is shown in this account. No non-cash items such as depreciation, outstanding expenses, accrued income, etc. are shown in this account. Like we were adjusting the adjustment. So here, no need to make any kind of adjustment. No adjustments will be there in receipt and payment account. It begins with opening balance of cash in hand, like cash book, and cash at bank or bank overdraft, and closes with the year end balance of cash in hand or cash at bank or bank overdraft. In fact, the closing balance in this account, the difference between the total amount received and payment, which is usually a debit balance, reflects cash in hand and cash at bank unless there is a bank overdraft. Suppose that if you are preparing the receipt and payment account, it is not necessary that both the sides will come equal. Suppose that if your receipt side is stronger than the payment side, so the balance CD will be there on that payment side. So that balance CD will be treated as buy balance CD. And suppose that if the buy side is covering more balance than that two sides, so there will be the balance CD on the two side. And that balance CD of two side will be treated as bank overdraft, and the balance CD on the buy side will be treated as at like cash in hand or cash at bank. The receipt and payments. These are the receipts and payments of an NPO. You can go through with it. I'm not going to pronounce each and everything. How to prepare it? Just take the opening balance of cash in hand and cash at bank and enter them on the debit side. In case there is a bank overdraft at the beginning of the year, enter the same on the credit side of this account. If you remember the cash book, the single column cash book that I have told you last year, it is exactly the same. At the start of the cash book, we have to provide the balance, the opening balance on the two side, like to balance BD. And if it was that bank overdraft, it should be on the buy balance BD. So it is like the same. Then next is show the total amounts of all receipts on its debit side, exactly in the cash account. Like in the cash book, we were recording all the receipts on the two side and all the expenses on the buy side. Exactly it is the same like cash book. Show the total amounts of all payments on its credit side, irrespective of their nature, whether it is related to the capital nature or revenue nature. Means like if you are purchasing furniture and if you are purchasing goods, if you are paying salary, doesn't matter whatever it is. If it is paid in cash, then it will be treated in receipt and payment account. None of the receivable income and payable expense, as I've discussed earlier, that no adjustments will be there in this account. Find out the difference between the total debit side and the total credit side of the account and enter the same on the credit side. Then it will be the closing balance, and I have discussed that it is like that to calculate the balance CD. The balance CD can be on the two side and balance CD can be on the buy side as well. So what is the format of receipt and payment account? Just see that. This is the format of receipt and payment account. You can go with one by one item as the time goes on, and it is a video, so I have to go very fastly more. Then, so let's take an example how to prepare that receipt and payment account. So Here's the information. This is the summary of a cash book. Details are there, amounts are there, cash in hand, cash at bank, and subscription, donation, entrance fees, life membership fees, everything is there. You have to understand what is your income and what is your expense. If you are able to understand what is your income, what is your expense, then just you have to put the income on the receipt side and the expenses on the payment side, and finally then you just have to find out their balance CD, and that will be the receipt and payment account in a final mode. Just take it. This is the receipt and payment account, because previously I have told you in the last slide it was like this. This is your question, and this is the answer of your question. So here you just have to understand whether it is, if you carry cash in hand, it will be on the two side, and if it is closing balance, that will be on the buy side. How we will understand that this is opening balance and this is closing balance? So for that we have to just check the date, that opening cash in hand, what it will be opening cash in hand. Just see the date, 1st April 2014, and the last was is 31st March 2015. So in these two dates, what is preceding date? Definitely it will be April 1st 2014, so it will be treated as opening, and that 2015 March 31st will be treating at closing balance. So next is subscription. Subscription is an income, it is on the two side. Then donation for building, it is an income, donation we are receiving, that is why it's on the two side. Then next is entrance fees, also the receipt. Life membership fees, also a receipt. Interest on investment, an income. Government securities and locker rent and all. Then printing and stationery, lighting, rates and taxes, telephone charges, postage and all, and everything. These all are your expenses. So income will be on the receipt side and all the expenses will be on the payment side. Then afterwards we have to calculate. If it is coming equal, then no need to put anything, and if it is not coming equal, then it will be the balance CD. Okay. Next, if this is preparing like this, but how? I have discussed. Just see. This was your question and this was your answer. Just see that. The cash in hand with the balance of 2014 two times, this is your opening balance. How we can understand that? Opening date and the closing date. So the opening balance will be on the two side, and the closing balance of cash in hand and cash at bank will be on the buy side at the last of the question. And after that, donation for building, income, it is on the two side, and all everything I have discussed. The next is now, from the following particular relating to Silver Point, prepare a receipt and payment account for the year ending March 31st, 2015. Everything is there. Opening cash balance. This time they are mentioning like opening cash balance and opening bank balance. But remember one thing, if you have two types of opening balance, so definitely you will get two types of closing balance as well. So just check in the question whether you got the two types of closing balance or not. Just see that in that particular on the buy side, at last it is given that closing cash in hand. So we have that opening cash in hand and opening cash at bank. But at the time of closing, we had only closing cash in hand. So definitely difference will be there and we will get the closing cash at bank. Let's solve this question. This is the solution of this question. And how it will be? Just see. This was your question. This is your answer. How it all came, you can understand. Opening balance is on the two side and the closing balance in everything. First of all, we will take that opening cash balance. It is on the two side. Opening bank balance on the two side. Subscription collected totally 9,000 on the two side as well. Next is sale of refreshment. It is an income on the two side as well. Entrance fees received, income on the two side as well. Next is sale of old sports material. Whenever we are we are making any kind of sale, it will be an income. It will be on the two side of 1,200. Next is donation received, also an income, 4,600 on the two side. Next is rent paid, expense. Sports material purchased, expense. Purchase of refreshment, expense. Expense for maintenance, also an expense. Then salary paid, expense, tournament expense, furniture purchased, office expenses, all are your expenses. And at last, it is that final answer. How it all came, let's understand. we are putting each and everything here together. For that, all the information that have been provided in the question we have put already. So, but the answer is not coming equal. After adding both the columns, we are finding that debit side have the balance of 25,000 and that credit side has the balance of 18,400. But as the accountancy process and the accountancy concept says that both the columns should be equal, so the difference means 25,000 minus 18,400, like 600. It is like that. I'm not sure that whether it is 600. It should be 25,000. It should be 6,600, I think. Yeah, it is 6,600. It should be 6,600. It was my mistake. Don't worry. No worry. Go ahead. It's now your turn to complete the questions. Just see. This is the question first. You have to prepare the receipt and payment account. I will provide you the answer in the next video. Question number 2. This is your question number 2. This is your question number 3. This is your question number 4. And this is your question number 5. You all have to complete these questions and send me the solutions in personal. I'm waiting for your solutions. Okay. Hope you have enjoyed a lot. Thank you. And best of luck for your answer.